This video clip provides teachers with the basics and the foundations of what is required from CAPS for your senior phase technology. Now, the first thing to remember is there are 2 hours per week allocated to teaching technology. And in these 2 hours, teachers are required to cover 4 different aspects of technology: design process skills, processing, structures, mechanical systems and control, and electrical systems and control. Now, each of these are broken down into different categories or topics under structures. So, for example, if you have a look, there's a wide range of what the learners learn within structures. And this is obviously divided between grades 7, 8, and 9. And we'll have a look just now at what is in each of these grades. Processing, also a wide range. This gives you an overview of what they're going to be studying in processing. Mechanical systems and control also gives the learners a whole different taste for different elements of mechanical systems and control. And then they touch on electrical systems and control as well. Your design process and skills. In grade 7, they look at what is technology and an introduction to graphic communication. In grade 8, they look at graphic conventions, working drawings and artistic drawings. And in grade 9, they look at first angle orthographic projection and then drawing complex 3D objects. So you'll see how it's spread. It builds. Grade 7 is the fundamentals and the basics, and then grade 8 and 9 builds on grade 7. Structures. Grade 7, understanding structures, natural and man-made structures, investigate a frame structure, stiffen materials, investigate designs. Now you'll notice that in the intermediate phase, they would have done the basic structures as well in natural science and technology. So they're building on this information. In grade 8, you'll notice that it gets a little bit more advanced and slightly different. So there's a different focus. And then in grade 9, forces and loads, and they look at more forces and the strength of material and the properties of material, which again they build on from grade 7 and 8. In processing, grade 7, they start looking at food, emergency food, manufacturing of food, and then of course the properties of the different materials. In grade 8 is focused very much on the positive impact of technology, so biodegradability, recycling, and then forces that act on materials. And then in grade 9, there's more focus on preserving or preservation of metals and foods, etc. And then of course the types of plastic and their uses. When we look at mechanical systems and control, you'll see there's also a development of information and skills from grade 7 to grade 8 to grade 9. With grade 7 starting with the very simple mechanisms. They look at levers, they look at the basic mechanical systems and controls. Grade 8, they move to mechanical advantages, simple machines, complex machines, gears. And then in grade 9, it's more the systems, hydraulic systems, syringe mechanisms, pulleys. So you'll see it develops the interest as well. So the learners should not get bored from one year to the next. In technology, they try and prevent that the learners do the same thing one year after the next. Electrical systems also shows good progression from one year to the next. Grade 7, magnetism, your simple circuits, your drawing systems. Then we look at grade 8, where we look at the using of energy, generating electricity, and then in grade 9, building on that, looking at simple electrical systems, switches, sensors, and so on. So you'll see again how it builds up. And it's important for us as teachers to remember what the learners have learned the year before. Some of them might have not remembered the things from the year before, but of course, the more practical we make it, the more enjoyable it will be. Now, one of the things about technology is they require you to do what's called a mini PAT. And a mini PAT is really a set of short practical assessments that make up a main formal task. And there's a reason why this has been put in. It's really designed so that we can formalize the practical element of technology. We need to make sure that teachers are actually doing the practical side and that the learners are enjoying it and then actually receiving results and marks for what they're doing. Now, it's essential that we set up these mini PATs in an effective way for the learners to actually learn and develop skills and knowledge. So the first is to make sure that we accommodate all our learners. So when we're setting it up, make sure that all the learners in your class will be accommodated in this mini PAT. Make sure that there's progress in difficulty, that learners are able to see the development of their skills and their knowledge during the process of doing the actual mini PAT. And of course, don't try and focus on too many areas. Just focus on one key area and then rather integrate some of the other focus areas. And most importantly, make sure that your mini-PAT is structured according to the actual design process. Now let's have a look and see what is required by CAPS in terms of the formal assessment tasks. Now this term 1 represents grades 7, 8 and 9. The only difference between the different grades is that the control tests and exams are out of different marks. So have a look at your downloadable PDF, which appears after this video clip, and that will give you the exact details of how much each test and exam should be out of and how long it should be. So let's have a look at term 1. Term 1 consists of a mini-PAT and then a control test. The mini-PAT counting 70% of your term 1 mark and the control test 30% of your term 1 mark. And of course your control test consists of topics from term 1. In term 2, the only difference between term 1 and 2 is instead of a control test, you've got an exam. And again, have a look in your downloadable resources, because there you will see exactly how much the exam is out of for each grade. In term 3, again, is a control test. 30% of the marks come from the control test and 70% of the marks come from the mini-PAT. So you can see the weighting on the mini-PAT is really important for technology. Term 4 is slightly different in that, yes, you do have a mini-PAT and an end-of-year exam, but you'll notice there's 100% at the bottom of the mini-PAT. That 100% means that that mini-PAT counts 100% towards the school-based assessment mark from term 4. So the exam does not count towards the school-based assessment mark. If you look at the exam, there's a combined mini-PAT and an exam. 40% is the exam and 20% is the combined mini-PAT. Now, the 40 and the 20 means that your final end-of-year marks and your weighting, you'll see that the end of the exam counts 60%. So again, you've got your 40% and your 20% of the exam going towards that end-of-year exam mark or percentage of 60%. Now, where does the rest come from? Well, the 40% comes from school-based assessment tasks from term 1, term 2, term 3, and term 4. And remember, in term 4, you're taking 100% that mini-PAT. Each of those terms counting 10% of their marks, and that makes up the 40%. And that 40% plus the 60% together make the progression and promotion mark for the learners, which makes up the 100%. Now, what should technology teachers keep in mind? Well, the first thing is to remember that basic terminology is so important. Learners don't get as much basic terminology in NST in intermediate phase as they used to. So make sure they've got these foundations when they come into grade 7, because they need this to build on to grade 8 and to grade 9. Expose the learners to as much practical work as possible. Practical work, first of all, makes the learners enjoy the work, but also reinforces the skills and the knowledge that they need for technology. And then, of course, to make it fun and interesting for the learners, we've got to be enthusiastic and teach in an enthusiastic way so we develop the interest in it for the learners.